Morjesta mieheen! Mike Benz kommentoi Elonin ja Donaldin välejä sekä USA:n hallintoa. Tässä on kiinnostavaa 9 minuuttia tulee. Noin, ja mäpäs pistän tästä pyörimään. Ja tässä on koneälyllä sitten tehdyt käännökset, eli ne on sinne päin, mutta niistä saa kuitenkin pääasiat. Tämä on selkeätä englantia kyllä.
Making this video because we need to keep this coalition together, and what's happening right now is really stupid and I think can be pretty easily put back together if it's done quickly. I'm going to talk about that. Really, this is going to have two parts to it. The first is an acknowledgement that Elon has been the secret weapon behind Trump 2.0, really from early in the campaign into the first 4 months of the administration. And I know everyone knows the facts of this, but they're bears repeating. Donald Trump was facing 1,000 years in prison. 1,000 years in prison, 91 felony counts. And not only that, there was no platform to be able to even talk about Trump-related campaign issues. It was not until Elon bought X that you could talk freely about election interference, that you could talk freely about the COVID era, that you could even publish disclosures that were embarrassing to the blob. The complete lockdown on big tech and the refusal of any platform to actually allow a way to publish information meant if there was no X when Trump got shot in the face, if you had posted about that, they could have just labeled everything misinformation or misleading context. People forget just how big a lock the blob had on all speech. So you could not even run a campaign that way unless you had Elon there. And then you have the fact that he was the top financial backer, the fact that he took unbelievable risk. And not only that, he opened the door for the entire business and investment community to come in safely behind and themselves have the bravery feeling like Elon and his enterprises and his philosophy would help amplify theirs. I think he helped bring, for example, the little tech coalition out of its shell to come and support Donald Trump. I think I know that he also paved the way for Mark Zuckerberg's support, for Jeff Bezos to do what he did. The entire business, commercial, investment community, in addition to taking all of the risk himself, and then not only doing that monetarily, but inducing all these changes in all the other social platforms so that you could even talk about Trump-related issues during the Trump campaign. Then I was overwhelmed in the first 3 months of the Trump admin. We're only at month four and a half, about how much was getting done in such a short period of time. The closure of USAID, the reorganization of the State Department, the chopping off of censorship grants at the National Science Foundation, the ditching of all sorts of extraneous destructive programs like the Minerva Initiative at the Pentagon, the cuts to hundreds of the worst NGOs on earth. All of this stuff was happening at lightning speed, and it was driven by Doge. It was driven by the fact that you had a dedicated group of people who were working for free 24/7, busting ass just to get rid of the worst parts of the US federal government. Not for the money or the fame. These people were anonymous. They did it for the country. And what happened with this bill, and I see both sides of it, I really do. I understand that there are fantastic provisions in this bill around border security and a whole host of other issues that are super important for the country. The fact that only $9 billion out of the $200 billion that Elon and Doge identified are in the bill is a massive slap in the face. And I understand that there's a plan to try to get these cuts in through separate bills. But, there have been tons of media reporting about, Elon promised $2 trillion in cuts and, only came up with 200 billion and only 5 billion of that's being cut. Well, what if he did come up with 2 trillion? You'd still put 9 billion in the bill. And what it does is it's very demoralizing to the whole rest of the country, because these Doge investigations have been the impetus for political hope in this country. Because I remember Trump 1 very, very vividly. I was in the Trump 1 White House. We got more done in 4 months, in the first 4 months of the Trump admin, while Elon was a special government employee there, than we did in 4 years under Trump 1. There's been a joke that's been flying around on X about, maybe it was good they stole the 2020 election, because the Trump 2 administration would have been just a continuation of Trump 1, which did some good things, but mostly it didn't do the bad things of Obama or Biden weaponizing the Justice Department, et cetera, opening the border, these sorts of things. But the fact is the Trump 1 White House was ruled by Paul Ryan and his speakership. It was dogged by headwinds from every angle: the intelligence community, the FBI, the outside pressure groups, the donors, and Elon offered a way out of that. Now, I'll stop at that part of it, because I could go on forever about that, except to say that my fear is, if you don't take care of people who put it all on the line for you, risked it all, made all of this possible, basically birthed this thing, including all of our own individual freedoms, you're going to end up with a Trump 1. You're going to end up with a Trump 1 admin, which was very tired by the end. And every year there was a promise that next year's budget is going to be better. Next year's budget would be better. And it never was. Now, in terms of what started this all, it looks to me, I don't have the facts memorized here. I might be getting a few things inaccurate in a few spots, but the way as I followed it, it looked like when Elon left as an SGE last week, he was inflamed about the bill and made comments on X to kill the bill and to, kill Bill, all the memes, and taking some shots that were not really all that hard hitting. It looked like it was pulling a lot of punches. It was voicing opposition to the bill, but really not making it super personal about Trump or about folks in the Trump inner circle. There were a few shots here and there about, where is the Trump from 2 years ago who pledged that he wouldn't, raise deficit spending and the like, but it wasn't really personal. And then Trump, I believe this really kicked off during the press conference this morning, when Trump was asked, I think by a reporter, about the bad blood that may have emerged for why Elon was posting opposition to the bill. And Trump basically insinuated that Elon's opposition to the bill was all about his own self-interest, self-dealing. He said, Elon didn't have a problem with the bill until I mentioned the electric vehicle cuts. And to insinuate that Elon is only opposing the bill for his own personal profit, after Elon risked his entire 6 multi-billion-dollar company enterprises, had X and banned and SpaceX assets seized in foreign countries like Brazil, was by far and away the biggest political donor. Gave up his job for 4 months to work for free. Let his companies that were being torched by left-wing domestic terrorists, and this kind of low blow shot that the whole opposition is based on not getting subsidies for his own personal company. I mean, I can see how that would make someone fly off the handle. And that, to me, looks like it was what escalated. Someone correct me if I'm wrong about this. And, I honestly feel like if Trump were to just kind of apologize for that shot and then have a private phone call, stuff could, be relatively well built back together in another couple weeks or months, or however long it takes to patch this stuff up. But you have to manage your coalitions. You just do. No government, no matter how strong or powerful or visionary a leader is, works without the support of folks on the inside who are great administrators and loyal, and folks on the outside who will help you through their businesses, through their media, through all manner of outside support and amplification. You really do get by with a little help from your friends. And this is a big thing to throw away. It's the reason we won the CR budget fight, like 8 months ago on this. So get it together, guys. Let's kiss and make up.
Noin. Semmonen. Ja laitetaan tähän nyt vielä sitten näitä kuvia tästä, kun on tämä Photoshop-animaatioesittely. Eli tässä ei ole mikään aitoa. Nämä on tämä Elon Muskin auto tuolla avaruudessa. Kaikki on, no siis toi auto on aito, mutta se on siis kuvattu studiossa. Ja hän väittää näitä aidoiksi kuviksi. Niin tässä voisi olla ihan hyvin tämän näköinen kesä, missä tätä näin on kuvattu blue screenia vasten. Ihan samalla tavalla kuin tai green screenia, ihan samalla tavalla, miten mä nyt teen tätä ohjelmaa tässä itse. Noin. Eli tämäkin kuvataan green screenia vasten, niin voin vaihdella tuohon, vaikka että tekisin tätä studioa yhtä uskottavassa avaruudessa, kun tuo auto leijailee tuolla. Ja sitten on vaan herää aina niin kuin tuossa Muskissa kysymys, että miksi hän tekee noin, miksi hän toimii tuolla tavalla. Niin se on se aika kiinnostava asia. Mutta on ollut kyllä kieltämättä, se on ollut hieno, mitä he on saanut. USAID tuli puheenaiheeksi, ja toivottavasti se on lakkautettu, sitähän me ei tiedetä, mutta sieltä tuli ne, esimerkiksi tämä, joka teki tämän NATO-kallupin Suomessa, firmani oli saanut sieltä 200 tonnia ja muuta. Sehän rahoittaa Suomenkin toimintaa, ja 90% Ukrainan mediasta oli rahoittanut. Että semmoittia. Niin toivotaan, että noi menis asiat hyvin ja toi Trumpin hallinto todellakin, että saataisiin se Ukrainan sota loppumaan ja sitten saataisiin tämä ydinperheasiat, nämä arvot kondikseen ja noita yliopistoja siivottua näistä haittaideologioista niin kuin kunnolla. Ja jotta semmoinen niin kuin järkevä elämä palaisi tänne myös Suomeenkin. Tännehän se tulee sitten takapajulana, mutta kun me olemme vasallivaltio, niin se vaan toimii näin. Ja Suomelle tietysti toivoisi, että nämä huulipunahallitukset, niitä ei enää takaisin koskaan. Ja sitten tämä Suomen velkaantuminen saataisiin loppuun ja tämä alkaisi työllistää ja ideat ja ajatukset täällä alkaisi mennä eteenpäin. Nyt tämä on ihan täysi kaatopaikka. Tämä on se hölmölä. Olemme niin hunningolla kuin vaan ikinä voi olla. No niin, semmoisia terveisiä tätä Tyrnävä Shown datsalta. Morjentas.